many emotional hurdles to take on when selling your home, which is why it can be helpful to have the right realtor in your corner. Mike Burns, president of the Utah Central Association of Realtors, has advice on how to get the most of your selling experience. I think a lot of people are all ears to hear what you have to say. We know the market right now is really unique. Set up the Utah landscape for us.
You know what? It's crazy right now. When you look at the amount of inventory, meaning the number of houses that'll sell in a year,
right?
It's as low as it's ever been. And when you face that, it's what's called a seller's market.
Seller's market.
So for a seller, it's a great time to sell. The biggest challenge is a lot of times there's a lot of assumptions people make that aren't right.
Well, you say just because it's being defined as a seller's market, that doesn't necessarily make it easier for those trying to sell their homes.
Not necessarily. In fact, it makes it more dangerous because when it's a seller's market, a seller sometimes will launch into saying, hey, I'm going to sell my home. They'll pick a price sometimes from the air, sometimes from an old appraisal, sometimes from a website that may or may not be accurate, and they'll just put it out there. They'll sell it in a day, think they're a genius, and lose $100,000.
Yeah, you hear of these homes that literally are on the market, so to speak, for an hour, and they're gone, and that's when you kind of do the head smack, I think. What did I do wrong? How could I have played that a little bit differently? How does using a realtor give the seller more of an advantage, in your opinion?
You know, we mentioned pricing, and that's a huge deal because they're going to be able to help them price it accurately. A realtor also makes sure that they avoid a lot of the pitfalls and mistakes. Sometimes sellers are afraid to disclose information about their home that really matters. And so when you have a realtor, you're going to be able to know what you have to disclose and be able to cover that to protect yourself as a seller, so that if there's important information that needs to be conveyed, you're getting that out there.
What are some simple tips, Mike, that you do give your clients to help make the most of their selling experience, whether that be the dollar income they bring in or just the overall process, making that go smoother? What are your best tips?
You know, the number one thing is you need to have somebody to give you advice because everyone's situation is different. So when you've got a good advisor, a good realtor on your side, you've got somebody who's going to guide you through the transaction. And every transaction is different. And so it's easy to say, hey, here's the top 10 tips. But the reality is that you have to make good choices every single day. If I was going to say one tip, I'd say commit. If you're going to sell your home, make the decision to do it, because the half-hearted attempt, well, I'm going to put it on the market and see what happens. Homes affect people's lives. And you don't want to make that decision just on a lark or lightly. And so you want to have good consultation with a good realtor, and you want to make a good, solid decision that that's what you're going to do, and then all the other tips come into play. So first of all, you're going to have to pack up most of your stuff.
Right. That's the process we all love, right?
Absolutely.
I say that sarcastically. That's the process we all dread.
We do dread it, but it's a lot simpler than it has. I mean, it can be simpler than people make it out to be. If you just pack up as if you're going on a 6-month trip and put that aside and then get rid of everything else, your life's a whole lot easier.
That's a good mentality in terms of home staging, just to treat it like a vacation, taking out what you really will need and cleaning it up a little bit.
And just get rid of everything else.
All right.
Most of us just have way too much stuff. And you've got to make room in your home for that new buyer to see themselves in it.
Great advice. Great advice. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching.